Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Behind the Smile. Today's guest is Blythe Langford. Blythe is a holistic business mentor, trauma informed healer, and visionary entrepreneur with nearly 3 decades in the hair and beauty industry. At 24, she purchased her first salon, buried in 6 figures of debt, and turned it into a 7-figure success in under 9 months. She went on to repeat this with 2 more salons, building thriving businesses where others saw failure. But behind the scenes, her 20s were marked by deep pain. This included cancer at age 26, a lot of heavy drinking, and self-destructive coping mechanisms. It was after surviving cancer that Blythe became vegan and began detoxing her life, which saw her reclaim her health. By 30, she'd given up alcohol, found profound vitality, and was thriving in every sense. Then, in 2018, a near fatal motorbike accident left her permanently disabled. That turning point led her to leave Sydney and surrender to a slower, more sacred life in the Byron Bay hinterlands. There, she fully embodied her purpose, fusing spiritual healing, business leadership, and earth-aligned living. Now, living on a 50-acre fruit farm, Blythe mentors salon owners around the world to double their profits in 90 days while reconnecting with what truly matters. Her signature program, the Sacred Salon Formula, helps leaders create sustainable success rooted in soul, not sacrifice. Her mission is to restore the salon as a modern-day temple, a space that honors beauty, empowers self-worth, and uplifts the planet. She is currently building one of Australia's most transformative retreat spaces designed to help others reset, rewild, and remember who they are beneath the mask. So with that, I would love to welcome my beautiful friend Blythe to Behind the Smile. Hi, gorgeous. How are you, honey?
I'm so good. Thank you for having me. I'm so blessed to be here. Thanks, Ash.
Oh my goodness. Now, I have been lucky enough to attend your incredible 50-acre fruit farm, and it is truly a sight to be seen. I remember you trying to explain it to me when we had those catch-ups on the Gold Coast, and you were painting the picture, but until I got to actually go and stay and spend the night with you and experience it, it's really hard to quite understand what you're building out there, but it's truly magical. How is life on the farm these days?
It's the best. Like I was saying to you beforehand, we're in dry season now. So it's like sunny every day. There's no rain. It's cold in the night so you can snuggle up. It's just the perfect weather. So I feel like I'm literally just in heaven every day. So it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I love it. Well, Blythe, as I've already mentioned from reading your bio, there was so much in there, and there's so much that I want to chat with you today about. But before we dive into it all, let's start with some nice, easy questions to allow our audience just to get to know you a little bit better. So, can we start with you sharing where exactly you live on this beautiful farm? What does an average day look like for you? And Blythe, what do you do for fun?
Well, I think my everyday is my fun. So in the mornings, where do I live on this farm? So it's a 50-acre property. I live at the base of the mountain, and the property goes up the side of a mountain, an old volcano site. So it's super beautiful. And what I do for fun and what I spend my days doing is like I have the 4-hour ritual in the morning, and it is literally just like me coming back to myself. And from my bio, I've had a lot of things go on in my past, which have led me to, not have the best coping mechanisms in the past. So now I look after myself with meditation and breath work every day. I stretch, do a bit of yoga, then I'll go for a run in the bush. I'll swim in a waterfall every single day, even today when it is like so cold in winter. And then I run back, and that's how I start my day. So just in heaven, connected to nature with breath and the elements, so I can get out of my head, get out of any unconscious programming that's not serving me, and just really come back to my soul aligned self every day.
And then how does work play into that? Because you're an entrepreneur, you work for yourself and you serve clients all around the world. So do you have like a dedicated time for work, or is it based on the needs of your clients? How does that kind of play out on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah. So I'm really selfish. I put myself first. And then once I'm in my feminine flow, then I can work with my masculine structure later in the afternoon. So, yeah, from 11, that's when I pretty much work. And then I'll have a gap in the afternoon again and do some feminine flow stuff, maybe in the garden or, yeah, in the garden or cooking. And then I'll come back and do some more work in the afternoon. So, yeah, I like to have that balance of completely off with the fairies, doing whatever I want to do, and then like really masculine structure and getting things done because I am obsessed with organization and getting things done and actioning tasks and all of that. But I find that the more flow I have in my day and in my life, then the more that can be done in shorter periods of time.
Mm. And you really practice what you preach. It's one of the things that I love so much about you is you are the incomplete embodiment of what you share about, of how you live your life. And it, as a friend to watch and to witness and observe, it's truly inspiring. And I can't wait for you to share more of that with our audience here today, because the person that sits in front of me right now is a very different version to the girl in the photo that you shared with me. So let's go there. Blythe, I would love for
Mhm.
you to please describe for our audience the photo that you've brought in today. This is a photo from a time in your life where you are hiding behind a smile. So you were presenting one version of yourself to the outside world, but the truth was you were struggling on the inside. So could you please firstly describe for those listening along who can't see the image being brought up on the screen right now, what are we looking at here in this photo? And then please tell us what was actually going on for you at that time in your life.
Sure. So I look completely different. I've got like bleach blonde hair, as much Botox as anybody could have in one's face, fillers, lips done, like literally just plasticized. My eyebrows are dyed lighter as well. And I have the biggest smile on. And so at this time, I think I was just after I'd had my cancer. So that year was the biggest, most transformative year of my life. My second salon had just done 7 figures, so I was nailing it. I was successful. I had all the money that I wanted. I was driving the sports car in the, beautiful duplex near the city in Sydney and had everything that I wanted, but like in societal terms. I looked the part, I had everything I wanted, but my body was giving up on me. Like I remember I was going for a walk with my mum one day and I turned to her and I said, I think I'm having a heart attack. And she just looked at me with blank eyes and I like just fully downloaded from her. She's like, that's how I feel every day. And I was like, actually, that's how I feel every day. And I was like, far out. I wonder how many of my friends actually feel like this too. It's just when you are an entrepreneur and you are responsible for so much, there is just so much pressure on you and responsibility to take care of everybody else, to put everybody else first. And there literally just isn't any time for yourself. There just wasn't any time for me, even though I had I've been obsessed with exercise ever since I was, that was my morning ritual because I was quite overweight in high school. And that was how I would connect with myself in the morning. I'd always have my exercise. And even though I was doing that, I was still heavily drinking, going out and partying, just getting loose and reckless on the weekends. Even though I had these 2 salons, I was still able to, drink every day. Not majorly, I wouldn't be drunk every day, but I'd have at least one drink every day. And then on the weekends, just be blind, like be completely
Mm.
blind, completely reckless, a lot of drugs as well. And so, but even, and I was like, it was like I was living this parallel life of this perfect business person and eating all healthy food and everything. But then on the weekends, just like killing myself slowly. And so
Mm.
it was just, I was in completely disharmony within myself, just so conflicted of who I was. And I guess when I had any space there, I felt really uncomfortable. So I'd fill it. Like I couldn't be by myself, or I was always hyper, what's the word when you're like doing so much? I was always doing so much and achieving so much,
Mm.
but it was for that external validation and just always feeling like I was feeling like there was still a void that I couldn't fill, inside. And
Yes.
so,
Oh my goodness.
yeah, I've even just coming
1000%.
Yeah, even just coming on this podcast the last few days, I've just been having all these downloads of all these times where, like at that time, like just how fucked I was. I remember like we were at a course and this coach said, um, what do you really want? I'm like, I just want to be happy. She was like, that's not even
Mm.
measurable. How can you know when you're truly happy? Like, why can't you just have that now? And I was like, I don't know. I feel like I don't wake up like that. And I want to just feel like that all the time. And I think for myself, I was so deluded to think that you do feel extremely happy all the time. And it's this goal that like, once you get the money, once you get all of the things, that's what you feel all the time. And it's just such a lie that people are, like myself as well, are striving towards, but it's just a goal place. Like there's no goals to get through to actually be at that place. So yeah, the cancer was also
Yeah.
at that time, and that was a real wake up call for me because I remember the doc, like, you have a choice really. It's like, what are you going to choose? Do you want to just fade away and die, or are you going to look after yourself? So I completely shifted my life, and just by accident, really, because I've never really chosen things. Things have just happened to me where, like, I was going through this cancer journey and I was walking through the city in Sydney, and this random Indian man just grabbed me and said, if you went vegan for 1 month, you will be well. And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm paleo. I'm like, that's never going to
What?
happen in my world. And he's like, if you went vegan for 1 month, it'll cure everything. Because I was dealing with the cancer, so the aftermath of the cancer, and I was in so much pain. Every time I ate anything that was inflammatory, it would make my body swell, and I would just be in excruciating pain. Like sometimes just from eating, I'd be crying, and I just didn't know what it was because I was eating like really good meats. I was eating like really healthy things, so I thought, but all of them were inflammatory in my body and causing so much pain. And so this guy said, look, I'm a psychic. I can see in your body it's glowing green in your guts. And if you went vegan, you would be able to neutralize it all and it would literally go away within 1 month. And I was like, okay, I will give this a go. And within 3 days, all my pain went away. And I felt so much better. And I was like, okay, you're onto something here. I'm just going to keep on going just to see. And every day and week got better and better. I became nicer, more compassionate. I had less anger. And because my body was so inflamed and I was eating inflammatory things, and I don't know, like being vegan now 18 years, because that was 18 years ago, like I believe you are what you eat. And a lot of, like, if you're eating dead things, they didn't necessarily die in a good way. And so I was eating a lot of that. Being a really sensitive
Mm.
person, I was eating that energetic frequency, and that's what I was feeling as well. And so, yeah, completely changed my life. And I felt just so much better in myself. And that void that I was trying to fill, I felt like I had filled that just by changing my diet and lifestyle. It was completely different. I felt happy every day and like enlightened as well. Yeah. And then when I was 30, a few years later, I went to, just by, I just chose to go on a holiday. I didn't even plan it. I was in Thailand with some friends at the time. No, Vietnam with some friends at the time. I was like, I'm going to go, like they were going back to Australia. I'm like, I'm going to go because my salons were doing really well. I could sort of do whatever I wanted. I was like, I'm going to go on another holiday and just like pick this random place to go on a detox. I'm like, yeah, I want to learn all about the body and deep dive into that. So it was like an education place to learn all about the body and natural therapies. And I got there, and day one, they're like, okay, so this is your last meal. You're not going to eat for a week. And I was like, what? I didn't even know that was possible. Am I going to die? I think I'm going to die. Oh my God. I was freaking out. I went back to my room and I was like eating everything. I'm like, oh my God, these people are going to try and kill me. What's going on? Oh my God. Oh my God. And I had to sleep, woke up, and I'm like, okay, people have been living here doing this. They're totally fine. I'm going to go with it. And that was the biggest
Wow.
catalyst in my life, like for change. It completely changed me. I felt like I was Harry Potter and I was living in a world of muggles, like everybody's so normal and all of a sudden they've got these magical powers. I became psychic and was able to read and feel energy. And, people say, you can see between the layers of reality and like the different realities. Like I could see that. I could see energy from plants and trees and animals and cars, and I was living in the city in Sydney. It was so random and beautiful. And so, yeah, that was probably the biggest
Mm.
transformative area of my life. Yeah, going raw vegan.
And tell me, so was the non-eating, was that fasting? Was that what you think allowed you to open up? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
help me understand it more. Like, because I know
Oh,
you're a big advocate for fasting.
mhm.
What are the benefits benefits? What have you experienced? Like, obviously, you said, I became psychic and I started to read energies. But for somebody who is maybe just wanting to dip their toe into it, I know I've got a couple of clients who are firm believers in fasting. But what's your experience been with the practice, and why do you recommend it?
So yeah, I forgot to mention, after I got the cancer when I was around 27, then I started naturopathic nutrition as well, and just like did every natural healing modality that I could find around the world. And so with fasting specifically, it allows the body to clear out whatever is whatever it's storing. So with the body, let me just break this down for people, because it's so simple. People are like, the body's so complicated. No, it's not. It's actually not. Like, first we get what's it called when you have, sorry, my brain's not working today, fermentation. When you have foods that don't combine well in the gut, first they cause fermentation. If your body doesn't have the time and ability to detox that fermentation, then it turns into inflammation. Inflammation that is then not detoxed turns into infection, and infection turns into disease. That's literally it. And so when you have any of those things, it's just because the body hasn't been given a chance to clean any of it out. So when you fast, it literally cleans out disease, it cleans out infection, it cleans out inflammation, and it cleans out anything that's going to cause like degeneration in the cells and in the body. So when you fast, it just eats away at disease and anything that's going on there. It's like literally a holiday for your body, fasting. It's like, okay, great. Now I've got the time and space to actually go and clear up everything that's blocking you in your body. And then when you do that, your body can be its most pure, perfect self, because every single body in the entire world is psychic, has the ability to connect with nature, because our body is literally just an expression of the earth. It is just like a tree that walks, and so once we get back into our pure essence, then the body and our consciousness can evolve as it's meant to be. Now, I'm not religious, but I love history and I love anything to do with fasting and raw veganism. And so I actually learned in the last few years that Jesus was an Essene, and the Essenes were the ancient healers of that time. And that's because they were all raw vegetarians. They would all fast every single week, one day every single week, and only eat 2 meals a day. And so that's how they stayed really healthy. And these people would live for hundreds of years, not just like 100 years, but hundreds of years. Like,
What?
yeah. The book of Enoch, which is the one that Jesus and the Essenes studied, he lived till 1,000 years old. But a lot of people would live to like 700 years old, even like the ancient Greeks and things like that. They would live like 700 years. That was normal. That's why they're always depicted eating fruit, because they would be fruitarians as well. And so when you're eating fruit, it's the highest frequency food that there is. Like, today's food is, like, it's either how many calories does it have? How long can it actually burn under fire? That's what's going to give you energy. And that's not actually true. All of the energy that is stored in food comes from the sun. So the photons from the sun is stored in the food, and that's what gives us energy, the life force. So when something's alive and living, it gives us all this energy and this life force, and that's when we can be really well and we don't get sick. Our psychic abilities come on. We're in our most pure state, so we can read energy and it's just a natural way of being to, like, just be present with people and be able to read their energy. Like, that's what we should be able to do. And like, I wasn't into being woo-woo or anything like that. I was a hairdresser. Like, this just happened. And I didn't know anybody else that was experiencing this around me. I'm like, am I going crazy? It's like, oh, well, it's really fun. I don't care, whatever. So yeah, like, I didn't know anybody that was doing this either. Like, this is back in my 20s when the internet had just come out. So yeah, there was no kale or coconuts in the supermarket back then, so it was a different era. But yeah, so yeah, I would say if anybody was interested in fasting, just start off doing half-day fasts, like in one day, and then when you get more confident, then do like just 1 day a week. It'll literally change your life. It'll help to eat away disease in your body so you won't get sick. Oh, and I haven't been sick in 18 years as well, since I started doing all this stuff. And I used to get sick all the time, like all the time. Yeah.
It blows my mind. I have so many questions. The first one I want to just touch on, you're raw vegan, Blythe. So can you help people understand what the difference between being a vegan and a raw vegan is, and why you choose not to cook your food?
Yeah, sure. So at that detox retreat, they said, if you want to, like, after the fast, if you want to extend your fast, then just don't cook your food, eat everything raw. fruits and vegetables, nuts, seeds, seaweeds. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll do that for like a week. I did it for a week. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. I'm like, my abilities were coming on even better. And just like that guy, I could see where people were sick in their body, it would shine green. Like that's a normal thing that we're supposed to be able to experience. And like it was so weird in my hairdressing salons where I'm like, people are coming in, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can see that they're sick. And like, it was so cool. But anyway, and so they said, if you want to extend your detox, just start eating raw food. And I was like, okay, cool. So I started eating raw food and I just got better and better and like just started to love life more and like was able to like communicate with plants and animals and just get downloads of all the time of like, what clients needed to hear, or like it was just on a whole nother level of cool. Like it was like every day was so exciting, like so exciting. I remember driving to work every day and people being like, how are you? I'm like, oh my gosh, I just had the best day. It's like, it's 9 a.m. in the morning. What do you mean? So yeah, raw vegan is just not cooking your food. Like I was saying before, when it's in its natural state, it's got all of the energy from the sun, from the earth, from the water. Nothing has been processed or manipulated or changed. So the cellular structure is exactly as it needs to be. So our body can absorb all the enzymes that are living in that food. Because when any food is cooked, there's no enzymes that are left in it. So let's say with sugar, people are like, oh, sugar's really bad for you. But in its natural state, when it's sugarcane or sugarcane juice that hasn't been cooked or heat treated, it's a probiotic and a prebiotic. It's got all the enzymes in there. So it's amazing for your gut. But once it's heat treated, then it becomes toxic because it doesn't have the enzymes in there. So the body can't actually, it doesn't have the digestive enzymes in there. So it doesn't digest perfectly. And that's the same with any foods. When it's cooked, its life force is taken out. So a lot of the time its enzymes aren't there. And that's what your body actually needs to digest it and to start healing itself and get rid of disease. So yeah, I don't eat cooked food. I make all my own food, like literally every single meal I make myself. And it doesn't just mean that I eat like, people are like, oh, well, you just eat salad all the time. No, if you came into my fridge right now, I've got all different types of chips, kale chips. I've got crackers. I've got different kinds of wraps. I've got pancakes, banana pancakes, apple cinnamon pancakes, all made out of fruit, nuts, seeds. I have low fats, but yeah, mostly made out of fruits and seaweeds and veggies. And yeah, it's the best. I love it.
It really is. Your cooking is phenomenal. I remember when you made us like a spaghetti bolognese, but of course it was, zucchini as the spaghetti. And then you had this beautiful, almost like pesto-y kind of sauce, and it was delicious. And we had the crackers. And every time you'd bring food in on those events that we were at together, like it's so impressive. And it's one thing that, I always think to myself, I could just never do that because I'm so intimidated by the kitchen and the thought of the time and effort that goes into it. But when you make it your lifestyle and when you see the benefits, like I remember you describing your life to me now as almost like going from black and white into full color. And I see that, like I see the way you see the world, and I know that we see it differently. Like I know you're having a different experience on this earth compared to me and to most people. And it's amazing to witness.
Oh,
But it takes dedication, right?
it does. Well, it's sort of just like, it's like doing meditation. Somebody was like, well, why don't you just, have a drink or do that? And like, 'cause I haven't drunk in 14 years. And it's like, well, I don't want to wreck it. It's like I'm living in my own fantasy, and it's totally perfect. And I wouldn't want to wreck it. It's so beautiful. And yeah, I forgot about that actually. Yeah. Like when I did the detox and went raw vegan, oh my gosh, I could see differently, like, and hear differently as well. Like I went and did mushrooms with my friend like quite a while ago, and she was like, isn't it amazing? I'm like, oh babe, this is just like my everyday life. Are you serious? To me. And she's like, no, but the color's so vivid. And I'm like, that's my everyday. If I'm not feeling that, there's something wrong, So yeah, I do experience life quite a bit differently, but it's amazing. And it doesn't, now that I've been doing it for such a long time, 14 years, it's not distracting. It's like, it's just like life. It's perfect. Yeah. But it's also because like, with the cancer, I had to make a decision to actually want to live. And like the biggest form of self-care is looking after your body. So yeah, it's just, I see my body as like my child. I look after it epic, like anybody would look after their baby.
So beautiful, because it's just something that's not common practice, I think, in society today. We treat our bodies like dump yards, or you see people, going to the gym and drinking their green juice, and then they're drinking and doing lines of Coke on the weekend. And it's like, it's so incongruent.
Mm,
This is the one body, you get this one life with this vessel, and it's like, we should be treating it with respect. I love, like, what you
mm,
said about treating it like a child, and the same love and care that you would have for your own child. I love that. It's so, so true.
mm.
We'll move on in a minute, but there's one more thing I want to ask you about, which, when you told me, I remember we were driving down the freeway when you told me
I
about
remember
this
which one it
practice.
is. Yeah.
And yeah, you know what I'm going to say. My jaw hit the floor, and I was like, but what? And then I tried to explain it to someone when I got home, and I couldn't. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to need to interview Blythe about this, because you explained it way better than me. But can we talk about
Mm,
drinking your own urine and why
mm.
one would do that?
Yeah, urine therapy. So, I mean, it's been done, it's in every religious text, that the body is the perfect distillery. And so what that means is when you drink your own, well, when you're putting anything in your body, then your body will, clear out all the impurities, and what comes out. Like, we've always been told that it's like toxic and it's deadly, and if you drink your own urine, you're going to die. I literally thought that growing up. And then I heard about urine therapy. And what actually happens is, because your body is clearing out everything that it's processing, then when the urine comes out, it's actually information for your body to what's missing in the body. So it's like when your urine comes out and then you drink it, the information that's left in your wee, it literally tells your body where it's deficient, and then the body will start to create those, like, improve those deficiencies. So it's like you're your own pharmacy. You don't need to take anything out and take any supplements or anything like that. If you were to drink your own urine, it literally, you will heal yourself. There is so much history and data on this for centuries, like thousands of years people have been doing this. So yeah, the first time, no, not the first time, but one of the times I did this, I was going to Africa, and I was just on the plane, and I just had an insight. I was like, drink your own way. The water here is terrible. I'm like, okay, great. And so I started looping urine. So what that means is, you don't take any other liquids in. You're just looping your own urine. This is so crazy, hey? And this is like 12 years ago. And my psychic ability started to go really, like, next level. Anyway, so when we got to Africa, I went to sleep, had a beautiful sleep, woke up the next day, got into a deep meditation. And normally I'd meditate for like 20 minutes a day. I went so deep in this meditation, the ancestors from that land started to talk to me, and everything in my life started to shift and change completely, because I was on a different frequency. My body was like healing itself. It was able to do what it was meant to do, which is connect to every single land. And yeah, and that's what actually started me doing long meditations. Now I meditate for at least an hour, sometimes 4 hours a day. It just depends on how much time I've got. Yeah, so urine therapy is next level
Wow.
for healing anything.
That is again, something that I'm not yet ready to try, but never say never.
Yeah. And also, one thing about that is, urine is in most skincare products.
What? What do
It's
you
in most
mean?
skincare products. So aged urine actually turns into, like, a lot of people, like, if you actually did research on it, a lot of supermodels and things like that, they age their urine. So you put it in a jar, let it age for a period of time, and then you just get, like, cotton pads or a towel or whatever, and wipe your face with it. And it just cleans any impurities off your skin. It's absolutely amazing. It's, yeah, the best toner that you could ever use. Now, being an ex-hairdresser, when you use aged urine, to me it smells like ammonia, because we used to use ammonia back in the day. And so I can smell that in there. So it's literally turning into a product that we use for cleaning, clearing, bleaching, that kind of thing. So it is really, but it's more natural. So it is really good for, yeah, skin impurities. People use it in their colonics. Yeah, all sorts of stuff.
You know what? It actually doesn't surprise me at all. I think, considering what's the latest rage, like the salmon sperm injections, like,
I haven't heard that.
what's a bit of urine? Yeah, what's a bit of urine on a cotton pad? I mean, really?
Exactly. I mean, you drink a cow's milk, like it comes from the breast of a cow.
You make such a good point. It's just so what we normalize, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so you mentioned you were in the hairdressing industry for a number of years before that you then kind of had a little bit of a pivot transition, and now you've stepped back in with a new lens. But can we take a moment to go back to, I want to talk about young Blythe. Who was
Mhm.
Blythe when she first decided to even get into hairdressing? Like, what inspired you to make that decision? What drew you to that industry?
It was actually my mum. So, I mean, I did my first haircut on my sister when I was 5. It wasn't great. And then my mum, I had long hair, cut my hair off and as punishment. And but then I was always like really good at doing people's hair for formals and all sorts of, my mum's a bit cray. And so doing, like everyone always doing people's hair. And because my mum used to do my hair and she was so bad at it, I just didn't want her to do it. So I'd learned to do everything myself. And yeah, and then I just sort of forgot about, I actually really wanted to be a park ranger growing up, but my mum was like, you're just going to move to the bush and turn into a lesbian. You can't do that. And was, my mum was a bit crazy, and bless her. And but then when I was 18 or 17, I'd left school and I was working in a nightclub. I was working in my parents' business. They own a packaging factory, and I can't remember what else I was doing. I had like a range of jobs. And mum came out one day. I was like extremely wasted after working in the club. Like it was probably a Monday or a Tuesday, like so extremely coming down off drugs. She's like, what
Mm.
are you doing with your life? I'm like, she's like, what's your career? What are you going to do? I'm like, I want to own a nightclub. And she's like, drug dealers and bikies own nightclubs. That is so unsafe. I'm like, yeah, but they're all my friends, so it's okay. She's like, I am not having this. And she literally called the Hairdressing Association. She's like, you're going to be a hairdresser. And I was like, answered the phone, and I was like so wasted. And she's like, and the person on the other end was like, what do you want to do? I'm like, my mum wants me to be a hairdresser. She's like, okay, my friend. Anyway, so I literally got a job straight away, became a hairdresser. And I watched something, I think Oprah was on Dr. Phil one day, and she said, to be successful, all you have to do is not quit. I was like, I'm going to be the best hairdresser in the world. And all I have to do is not quit. And so, yeah, that was my whole thing. That's how I got into the hairdressing industry. And I loved it because it's like being in a nightclub.
Mm.
Everybody there listens to great music, takes drugs, but also makes people feel and look amazing. So it was sort of like perfect. But also, I think I really
Yeah.
loved hairdressing because I just love caring for people. I'm the eldest of 4
Mm.
kids. And it's just like, it's such a heart-centered industry that's just been manipulated. But it is like everybody just so deeply cares and is just like really sensitive souls, all hairdressers, I believe, and in the beauty industry as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. Having grown up in the makeup world, I think it's very similar. Even when I had
Mm.
the opportunity to work for one of the major networks after I'd finished my journalism degree, I chose to stay in beauty because I felt more safe and more seen in the beauty industry, where I had the opportunity to make women feel their best every single day and to
Mm.
spend time with them and to listen to them. And because you really are a therapist in many ways when you're sitting with a client for over an hour and they're sharing their deepest, darkest secrets with you.
Mm.
And then they walk out of the door and they feel good about themselves. And there's that
Mm.
self-esteem that you've helped create. That's so much power in that. And unless you work in the industry yourself, I think it's really hard to understand just how special that feeling is to be of service to
Mm.
people on a daily basis like that. But you
100%.
were also incredibly skilled in the business side of hairdressing. Tell me how you had such an eye, such a knowledge to be able to turn businesses around the way you did.
Oh my God, I'm going to sound so woo-woo. I'm a Capricorn, so I'm like obsessed with numbers. Maths was my best like subject in high school. Maths and life management studies. So I could, and I went away and worked on a cruise ship for a year and learnt sales as well. Like I was 21 traveling the world, and I literally had to do talks and all sorts of things that I was not like had never done before. They're like, you're just going to do this now. This is who you are. I'm like, I've never spoken in front of 100 people. What do you mean? Oh my gosh. It's like, just have a swig of alcohol. You'll be fine. And so, yeah, that taught me, because it was an American cruise line, it taught me about sales. And then I mixed that really well. When I came back and had my first salon, I made all of the mistakes, and I was like very fiery and very structured and very in my masculine, and led my team that way. But I still was able just to look at the numbers and be like, okay, we're short in retail, treatments, these areas. I know that they're spending way too much money here. If we shifted that around, then of course it's going to be $1 million business. so I was able to create like that sort of structure. But then in order to do that, you've got to get the team on board. So it's like, okay, well, how can I support the team so that they're going to want to sell and do it in a way that has integrity, that's really heart-led, that everybody wins. The client gets what they want without feeling like they're being sold to, and the staff are getting their incentives and being able to reach their goals and their dreams too. So it was, I guess, just being an entrepreneur, you're a problem solver. It's like, okay, cool. How can I bring the masculine structure with the feminine heart and really align the two so that this business just grows like quickly? And so, yeah, I did that in the first salon. And then, of course, you create your structure from all of the mistakes that you make. And you're like, okay, now I'm going to implement that. Well, and this is when I was in my heaps woo-woo stage of being like so spiritual. I'm like, I'm going to mix it with even more heart now and make it even better for my staff. And yeah, and so then it took off even faster. Then I was able to do the next salon in 3 months. And then,
Wow.
and then I came back into balance after the woo-woo-ness and got my third salon. And it's like, okay, masculine, feminine, boom, here's the structure. And then I was able to do it in 2 weeks, like really getting the team on board very quickly, seeing what their needs, desires, goals were, and then aligning it with the perfect structure so that everybody won. Because it's about the consultation. It's about how can we go to greater depths in the consultation with our clients to figure out what they truly desire, because we're normally just going really surface level. So how can we go even deeper in those consultations and, like really allow the client to share their hopes and dreams in that session, like in the first little bit, rather than it taking a few weeks or months for them to express themselves. So, and that's my signature formula that I do with people.
I love it. Do you know what it reminds me of? I remember in my early days on the shop floor at Mecca, I had the most incredible educator. Her name was Leah, and I'll never forget her. She left such a lasting impact on me. And she taught me about this theory called the red lipstick theory. And basically how it goes is a client walks into the shop and she says, I'm looking for a red lipstick. Now, a lazy salesperson says, sure, takes you over to, let's say, NARS and pulls up 3 different types of red lipstick. So they're still giving them options. One's matte, one's gloss, one's a stain. Swatch them on, maybe even put the lipstick on the customer. Maybe if you're lucky, they show them a lip liner and then they leave with a 2-unit sale. And, you assume the customer's happy because they've got the red lipstick. But then there's the skillful salesperson or host who actually cares and has empathy and has heart and sits that client down and says, fantastic, I can certainly help you find a red lipstick today. Tell me, what's it for? And then the customer goes on to explain how, well, she's going to her daughter's wedding. And it's actually the first time that she's going to see her ex-husband, and he's going to be there with his new girlfriend. And all of a sudden you get context to how freaking important this red lipstick is. But then, of course, you're not just going to show her the red lipstick, are you? Because all of a sudden now you've formed a relationship with this woman and you want the best for her. So you treat her like a sister or like your mother, and you show her not only the red lipstick, but you've got to show her that new brow product that's going to help lift and frame her face. You want to show her how she can create a contour, maybe a smoky eye. What about a new fragrance? All of a sudden, you've turned it into a multi-unit basket sale, not because you're trying to sell products, but because you genuinely care about this woman and wanting her to look and feel her absolute best on the day of her daughter's wedding. It blew my socks off, and it's the way that I was with every single client.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. That's exactly it. 100%. Because you just don't know. And people that aren't in the industry, they can be like, oh, that's still just sales. I had a client, and I use this story with all of my staff. Like, I had a client, she had 4 boys, she had a husband, and she was in a domestic violence relationship. And her boys and her partner would like physically assault her regularly. And she came into the salon every 6 weeks. She'd always buy the products. And she's like, that 10 minutes in the morning where I look after myself is how I can regulate myself and actually feel okay. Because I don't know if I'd make it if I didn't have that space for myself in the morning. And you see like how important it is what you're doing. You're helping people in their lives. Like, she was literally saying, if I didn't have that 10 minutes, I would probably kill myself. But this makes me want to live. And so it's such a sacred space. And that, like, that's what salons are. That's what beauty and hairdressing is. Like, we were the original mystics and sages. Like that's no matter,
Mm.
back in every single culture, every single religion, whether it's the Vikings or the Native Americans, we, the hairdressers and the beauty therapists, were the ones that would prepare everybody for a birth, for a death, for a marriage, for war. We would help them create who they wanted to be and the manifestations that they wanted to create, or whatever kind of healing they needed. We'd be able to create the tinctures and the poultices and whatever it was. And so it's just, I believe that society and modern day society, like with so many things, has taken that element away, because if we had that, then these would be sacred healing hubs around the world, and they would transform people's lives just with energy, with presence, with intention. And of course, they would have bastardized it so that it becomes so superficial and it keeps people so far away from their self-worth, where salons are actually a place where it creates esteem, it creates worthiness, and gives people back their confidence. So that's what I also try and bring into like everything that I do with my clients. Like, what is the impact that you want to create in your salon? How can we make what you do more sacred again? That's what I like to do.
And and there was a time where you reached a point where you wanted to leave, wasn't there? And there was quite a lot of trauma that you experienced at quite a young age within your business life. Can you share a little bit more about what happened there?
So it was in that same sort of period of time, this 26, 27 catalyst time, where, I experienced like sexual abuse and blackmail, and really fell out of love with the industry, the brand that I was working with, and just really made me question why I was even there. And then putting on top of that, when I was 30 and going to the detox place, I was like, what we're doing is harming the earth. This is so against what I'm about. Like, this is the complete opposite. It's not breeding consciousness and self-love and self-worth in people. It's like literally doing the complete opposite. So yeah, I went through a period of really wanting to get out of my salons and sell my salons, and um, leave my salons. And yeah, I remember even just speaking to my mum and dad one weekend. I was like, I'm just going to walk away, because I wanted to sell them, but I was having the sales jeopardized by a business partner. And because I was really great at turning salons around, I was really great at creating amazing educators in our brand in very short amount of time. Like, I was constantly having my staff poached, um, and all of that, which was fine because I was like spiritual. So I could just create more stuff like that. So it was fine, but it wasn't. Like, it was completely out of alignment within my soul. And so I was like, I want to get out of this. But yeah, I just didn't have the avenue to do that because, yeah. And so I ended up staying in there another few years. And then that's when I got my third salon, and my mum was dying around that time, like, but just before that. And my mum like wanted to die. So I was helping her through passing. And she was like, I just want you to snap out of this spiritual bullshit and just go and make some money, and like get out of it in another way. Go and make an even bigger salon, sell it for even more, and then get out of it. And so I did do that. I went and bought my third salon, even though I wanted to leave. And yeah, just turned that one around in 2 weeks. But yeah, and then COVID hit, and then I had my accident, and it was like, okay, cool, this is the time, and then had like
Mm.
when I was wanting to leave and had a lawsuit and all these things, like with business partners and stuff like that. So yeah, I ended up being like, you know what? The police couldn't help me. My lawyers couldn't help me with my salons. So yeah, that's when I was like, you know what? I don't have anything left. I'm just going to leave. And I left my
Mm.
jewelry, my computers, my phones, my clothes in the salon, all of our stock. Well, it was taken. So I left my salons and moved up here. Yeah, I just walked away. I've never said that publicly.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
Mm.
It was a lot. But, like
It's
sometimes
huge.
you're like, I put in a good maybe decade of not truly wanting to be there and running my salons at great like profitability and things like that. But yeah, like I was incongruent with my business partners.
It's like, and at what cost? So
Exactly.
yes, it was profitable, but it was costing you your soul.
Exactly. And, maybe the cancer was the first scare and the opportunity to get out, and I didn't listen. And so, you know, that saying,
Mm.
first you get hit by a feather, then a brick, then a semi-trailer to wake up. I literally had an
Mm.
accident where I ran into a concrete wall. So I was like, okay, you know what? This is like, you know, the next one I might die if I don't leave. So I'm going to just, yeah, do my best. Got lawyers involved, police involved, but it didn't work. And so, yeah, I was like, okay, my wit's end now. I'm going to walk away. And it was literally like, it was just so perfect as well. I remember I used to live down at the beach in Sydney. And one day my friend just called me and he's like, hey, I've moved to the Byron Bay hinterlands in the rainforest. And I would totally come up there and, yeah, I'll check it out. And I came up here and I fell in love and I was like, there is no way that I want to live anywhere else.
What was it about? I mean, you're such an energetic person, and I know you probably just stepped onto the land and knew straight away, but what was it about being in the space there that really created that gravitational pull for you?
I think up here there is just it feels different being up here. Like I said to my friend when I was driving up, I'm like, you know, I'll check it out, but it's so far away from the beach, I probably won't like it. But then I got up here into the Byron Shire and I was like driving over Goonangary, like, you know, you see over the Byron waters and everything. I was like, I rang him straight away. I'm like, I'm in. I'm staying here. I don't care what your place looks like. This is amazing. It's like your heart just explodes here, and you just become so grounded, and you like fall in love with the beauty because it's the landscape is just so beautiful and profound that it changes you inside. Like you can just reset your nervous system just by being here. You know, like everybody that comes and stays on my land is literally like, I had the best sleep. Like I just feel great the next day. It's like, yeah, because the
Mm.
land holds you, you know, it's how it's meant to be. You know, I don't believe we're meant to live in cities without trees and without nature. It's what provides us life force, you know, like trees make us breathe. So I guess there's just a lot of that around. So you feel so inspired and connected. And yeah, it just, yeah, my body, everything about me was like,
Mm.
I want to live here. That's it. And it was beautiful. And it is
Mm.
beautiful.
And you moved there with your dad, right?
Not at the start. I moved over my mountain to a friend's house first. And then my dad came up for my 40th birthday. And he was like, sorry to my friend Nate, if he ever watches this. He's like, your mate's a narcissist. You can't live with him. He's so mean to you. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, he's so mean to you. You can't stay living with him. He's like, I'm going to buy a property. Come and live on my property. I'm like, that's so weird. I'm 40. I don't live with my dad. It's so weird. What do you mean? He's like, and I was like, okay, get over yourself. And then he came and he was living in Sydney. So he came up for my birthday, went back to Sydney. And then he called me one day. He's like, if I don't get out of Sydney by Christmas, I'm going to die. Like, I can't live here anymore. I was like, okay, rightio. He's like, I'm coming up on Friday, no, on Thursday, and I'm going to have 3 days just having a look around the area and I'm going to find a house and I'm going to move up there. I was like, sweet, I'll cancel everything that I'm doing, drove him around, and we found this one property that's not the best property. It had heaps of renovating to do. We looked at so many beautiful properties, but we both came onto this land and Dad was straight away, he's like, what do you think? I'm like, I don't know, it's something special here. It's like, I think so too. And we looked at it needs so much renovating, like you have no idea, like so much renovating. There was no walls in the house that you've stayed in, Ash, like no walls. It was just plastic construction paper, you know? And yeah, and then he was like, before it even left the property, he was like, I'm going to put down a deposit. I was like, oh my God, my siblings are going to kill me. They're going to think that I forced you up here. He's like, no, they won't. I'm like, yes, they will. And he put down the deposit, siblings sort that. And then, yeah, he's like, will you move on to this property with me? Because there's 3 dwellings on it. I was like, I'd love to. He's like, you know, you're running around the world running retreats. Do up the top house, run retreats there. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can run retreats with you. You can teach people how to connect with nature and, you know, all of these amazing. My dad had so many skills, such a big basket of skills. I was like, this is going to be amazing. And then, yeah, we lived here for 1 year. Oh, and there's an Indigenous song trails along here as well. And Dad was like, I want to get the Indigenous community to be able to walk these song lines again and like really connect with their roots. I was like, it's so beautiful. And then, yeah, we lived here for a year, living our best life ever. Like we did everything together. Like people were like, are you guys a couple? I'm like, no, this is my dad. But everybody would invite both of us everywhere. It was so beautiful. And yeah, then after 1 year, it was just random. Like it was after the big floods a few years ago. My dad we'd just been to Blues and Roots Festival. We'd had the most amazing time. My dad, it was his first festival. He loved it. He's like, oh, we're going to come back next year, bring all your siblings. Like, yes, this is amazing. He just bought a puppy and he was about to go on his first date with a woman. And he got a random infection that we didn't know about. And he was like, I'm fine. I've just got the flu. I'm fine. And it was peak COVID time. And neither of us are vaxxed. And he was like, I can't go to the hospital because they're just going to want to vax me. I'm like, okay, fair enough. And he's like, I'll detox. I'll just fast. And anyway, he got to a point where I was like, you know what, I'm taking you to the hospital. This is too much. And he went to the hospital and they did exactly what he said didn't want to happen. They put him on a ventilator and then he died. It's crazy. And so, yeah, I've spent the last few years trying to get this property off my siblings so that I could fulfill our legacy. Yeah, but that's probably been a really heartbreaking time as well because my siblings blamed me for his death, that was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with in my life. Yeah, that was definitely the hardest time ever. That was excruciating every single day of my life. Yeah, I was literally I tortured myself with thinking that I had killed my dad every day for probably 2 years. So I've just the last year come out of that, which has been so nice to realize I didn't kill my dad. I loved him most. Of course, it's going to hurt the most because he's the person I loved most in the whole entire world. So that would be the most awful thing that you would ever have to consider, that you killed the person that you love. So yeah, got through that one. That's been interesting. Yeah.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that story, honey. It's just you've really lived a life, haven't you? And you're not even halfway. According to
I'm going to be like 800.
That's right. You're still just a baby.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a big one. You know, the thing is, I find with hairdressers, it's not uncommon. We have had the craziest lives, and that's why we can deal with so much chaos. And so I'm not different to a lot of my clients, and that's why I went out of the hair and beauty industry for a while when I moved up here, and I did other coaching with entrepreneurs for the last 10 years, to be honest. And I just had an epiphany one day when I was fasting, on day 9 of my fast. I think you were there when we were at one of the events in the Gold Coast, and I had an epiphany. I was like, oh my God, the people that I can serve the most are hairdressers. They're the ones that really do need the help. Yeah. All these things. I was like, oh my God, no, what? And then, changed my whole business, burnt it to the ground. I'm like, no, I want to be in service to people that I can actually serve. Yeah. So, that's what.
Yes. I remember, I do. I remember that moment because, there's this wild story that you shared with me once, and it was that during this time where you were kind of stuck in limbo, you had these salons, you couldn't quite get out. And so you spent $1 year and $1 million doing personal development, and you've got every qualification under the sun. You didn't just go and do entrepreneurial coaching, but you're a breathwork facilitator, you're a naturopath, there is so much in your toolkit. What has been the most profound part of your personal development journey?
Personal development journey. Oh, golly gosh. Personal development, not spiritual development. Hey, let's define this. Spiritual development would definitely be going raw vegan. That was the most growth that I've ever had. But I think the most personal development for my soul would probably be speakers training, honestly, with Miroslav. That broke, that I really found myself doing that. Yeah. I think being able to speak, because I, like a lot of hairdressers and salon owners, I'm so great at teaching other people's stuff, but having to be authentic and share is really hard for me because I'm really in my body. I'm really about energy and things like that. So being able to communicate that is, before doing this training, it probably felt impossible. It felt impossible just to share from that space of, I don't need to, of just being a pure vessel for whatever needs to come through is perfect, and trusting. So it really gave me, I found myself, I found my confidence. I found my authentic, it's my dingo. I found my authentic voice. And I've been able to share completely differently. Like I even did stand-up comedy, like what the actual, without really preparing a script or anything like that. I'm like, just read it, and it was great. So I've never been able to do that
Yes, I
before.
love that about you. Mm,
Yeah, so that's
mm.
probably been the most profound thing.
And now that you are coming out of what was really such a dark period, but also quite a transformative period, almost like another dark night of the soul, and you've
Yeah.
really started to get so much clarity and potency in what you're offering the world within your business. What does the rest of Blythe's life look like? What's next? Like, if do you practice manifestation? What are you calling in? Like, I'm excited to know.
Oh my gosh, I have so much. I'm gonna live forever. So like so many things, babe. Yeah, okay. So I mean, what we're working on here, building the retreat space. We're
Mm.
working with like free energy. So creating free energy, working with water to get the energy and magnets and things like that. So teaching people how to do that. And we don't create a machine or anything. There's like thousands of machines that have already been doing this since like forever. So it's nothing new, but it's just like, people don't like to promote it because the world wants to continue to pretend like we need oil. So there's that part of it, creating the retreat space as well. So yeah, really fulfilling my dad's legacy and what we want to here. So yeah, that's going to be a huge thing. And then I also have a woman who lives on the land, dear friend, Claire, you know her, and
Mm.
I've supported her to create a not-for-profit that ends human trafficking and sex slavery. So then we want to purchase the land across the road from us, which is like 500 acres, and build a recovery centre and things there. So that's going to be a huge one, and recovery centres around the world as well. So they've just purchased land in the Philippines and they're going to start building there. Um,
Wow.
that's one. And then also really creating a big impact in the hair and beauty industry, because I really want to help salon owners and salon staff to remember who they are so they can create these sacred spaces again with the structure, because they need the money coming in, but then with so much heart that it transforms their lives and then also other people's lives as well. And then
Mm.
running global retreats and teaching people like energetics as well as business. So I want to take people to Egypt in October and Iceland next year, and all these transformative portals where we can work on their business, but it changes them cellularly.
So are you going to Egypt? Because remember we
Yeah.
were chatting about this and then I thought it was
Mhm.
going to be earlier this year. What's happening with that? You're going to go on
Yeah,
in
they
October.
delayed. Yeah, so yeah, going to go in October. Yeah, and then want to take some of my clients over there for that as well. So then we can do the business as well as teaching them, the grid work and all of the energetics, so they can use that in their business as well. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Just for people who are listening along, because a lot of my audience aren't woo woo. They're not,
Mhm.
they're just starting to go into practices like meditation and breath
Mhm.
work and really starting to just begin that journey of coming home to self. So what do you mean, Blythe, when you say energetics?
Okay, sure. So, I'm talking about the quantum realm, because everything is physics. Like, I mean, not everything's physics, but um, everything has an energetic frequency. Everything is like, we're not just like, when you look into the depths of everything through physics and quantum physics, like, what are we even? Like, do we even exist? So, when I'm talking about energy, I'm talking about, I guess, helping people. Like, a lot of people live from their head, right? They live from their head.
Mm.
A lot of people aren't even in their body because, oh my gosh, I don't even know how to start with this on a normal it's very tricky. But so a lot of us, okay, so being a rebirthing breathwork facilitator, when we are, like, I'll just go through this lens, like when we are born, because we're born either in a hospital, we've had our umbilical cord cut, we've been smacked on the bum, been made to scream, and all of those things, our bodies actually were wired for, wired in trauma and wired in shock and fear. And so, because our nervous system is wired in trauma from that initial horrific experience, especially if your mum was on drugs and, in the hospital and all of those things, it's quite a traumatic experience, like being cut or pushed or forced. Even lying down in a hospital bed is not a natural way of birthing. And so it's really traumatic for the baby to come out that way into a white room with people in lab coats. Like, what the actual? It's like an alien ship, you know? And so because our nervous systems are wired in shock and fear, we don't fully come into our body. Our soul doesn't actually come into our body. That's why a lot of people can feel like they're forever avoiding things, like they're in either fright, fight, freeze, or fawn. So they're in a state of they're in a nervous system response state constantly and live from that space. So when we are living from that space, we're always living from our mind, living from our primitive brain, and so we're never actually coming into full consciousness. And so when we are like, energetics allows you to come back to yourself, so it allows your soul to actually come into your body, because a lot of people will never actually experience that in their lifetime. And when you're in your body and when you are embodied and when you live from that space, it's just a whole lot of ease and flow. And sure, things are going to come up, like, you know, my dad dying and all that sort of stuff. Like, stuff still happens, but like, I'm always okay. Like, I still got up every day and went for a run and looked after myself. Like, I was still fine, you know, whilst going through these things. So it just means like energy, like energy is just the frequency of life, but we're just not attuned to it because everything is energy, right? And so it's just about coming back into our bodies so that we can actually experience like the life that is here and being present. And when you're able to experience energy and use your energy, then you can shift and change like what is going on around you. Or like you said, with manifesting, you can manifest and create things that you really want to come into your life. And then you can change the frequency of like your house, of your business, of whatever it is, like a space. You can change and code your energy through a place. And for me, it's not really woo-woo. It's like just basic science and maths, but then also like every ancient culture and religion. Like, this is what Jesus and the Essenes did, because a lot of people like that are religious are like, well, that's devil work. It's like, no, this is what Jesus did. Just go and look at his book. You know, like, it's not. It's just working with nature and the planet that we are on, because that's how we're all encoded to be. But because we've been, you know, wired for trauma, we never come into our body, we don't actually get to experience the fullness and all the different little elements of life that are here and that are possible for us. So it's everybody's natural state of being.
And I think as well, that's why we're constantly looking outside of ourselves to fill that internal void, because we've never been taught how to find that within. The answers are actually already in there.
Yeah.
It's not about what else can I do. It's like, what do I need to stop doing? What can I let go of? You know, for me, it was like I needed to stop drinking alcohol. That was the first step. It was like the key that then unlocked this entire portal for me to come home to self. But until I was able to do that, to let that go, I was going to stay stuck. And so for people listening along today, maybe for you, it's work, social media, sugar, alcohol, drugs, whatever it is, avoidance, codependence. You know, we use so many things to run away and escape from ourselves, but it's actually ourselves that hold the answers to everything that you're looking for in life.
It's so true. I want to just give a quick example as well. Like, my neighbors, who are my best friends, they were like, oh, we're going to this amazing festival, Prana Festival. It's like a conscious festival over the weekend. You've got to come. I'm like, no, I'm feeling out of alignment. I want to stay at home and just be by myself and get into my practices, being in nature, eat really well. And at the end of the weekend, they were like, you should have been here. It was totally amazing. I'm like, I was having the best time ever. Like, that's how I recharge. Like, I can come back to myself and use nature, and then that will have profound long-term shifts in my reality. Whereas if I went to a festival, I'm exerting all my energy and it doesn't actually nourish my soul at greater depths. So it's, you know, like, those things are great at the surface level, but it's like, yes, when you can actually come back to yourself and give yourself space to fill up and rejuvenate on a soul level, then it will have longer and better effects, I personally believe.
Yes, it reminds me of, I've been talking a lot in my classes this week with yoga about, you know, we're moving into this season of winter, and there's the yamas and niyamas. One of them is brahmacharya, which is often misunderstood as restraint, but what it really means is it's about having that intuitive energy management and being able to really feel within and say, what do I need in this moment? And to honor that and to slow down and really move with what the feedback you're getting internally, listen to that and honor that and respect that, and you'll never make the wrong decision. On
So true.
Pranifest, though, a client of mine went last week, and I feel like you and I need to go together next year. It's a bit of us.
Well, if I'm in the space, absolutely, But honestly, I don't know. I used to go to a lot of
Yes.
festivals and all of those kind of things, I got into yoga when I was like 22 and was a yogi for 15 years. So I love it, but also like it's timing, So yeah, it just depends. But
Yes.
it does
I
sound
100%
amazing. But I'm also
understand.
like a lot of people. I live by myself in 50 acres, Ash. It's like
A lot.
like
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And when she mentioned to me that it was camping, I was like, oh, that's where you've lost me.
I'm like, I would definitely
You
need
know
a
I don't love
van. It is
camping.
cold, especially in winter. Like, it's not my jam. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, but I
Yeah.
love the idea of being able to move through all the different tents and experience all of the different offerings. That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
so good.
I
So
would have to
good.
prepare myself for that.
Blythe, yeah, 100%. Honey, we're nearing the end of our conversation, and I don't normally do this, but I just wanted to open it up to you to offer you the space if there's anything you feel like that we haven't touched on today that you wanted to share that's feeling really alive for you right now before I ask you my final question.
I think it would just be to share that I feel like no matter, like a lot of us are hiding behind smiles a lot of the time. And like even what you were just saying about Pranifest, we go and seek that external like things to fix us and like make us feel better. But like you said, like we've been speaking about, if you can sit with yourself and just allow yourself to feel what's going on, then you're filling your own void and you don't need to fill that up from anywhere else.
I love that. That's beautiful. Thank you. Now, Blythe, we have a closing tradition on the show, and that is this final question that I'm going to ask you now. What are your 3 non-negotiables that allow you to live your life today happy, authentic, and free?
Meditation, breath work, cold plunges, nature.
Amazing. I love it. That was just like bang, bang, bang.
Yep.
The cold plunges is your waterfall. Yeah, that's your daily waterfall dip, right?
Well, I also have cold showers.
Amazing.
I think if anybody wasn't into meditation or anything like that and they wanted to feel better, have a cold shower every day. It'll get you out of your head, get you into your body, and you'll feel better. And it gets rid of inflammation. So, yeah, it makes you feel better and gets you well.
Yeah. And then for people who spend for people who aren't living on 50 acres, who are working in an office in the city, doing the 9-to-5 grind, how would you recommend they could incorporate some form of nature into their lives, and why?
Well, I mean, it's super simple. On your lunch break, maybe just go to the park and put your bare feet on the ground. Or like I did when I used to live in the city every day, I would go and do like exercise in nature rather than being in the gym. Or you can go and swim if you're near the beach or near a river or a lake or anything, go in that water, like just dip in nature. And the reason is because it will reset you and bring you back to yourself. All of the worries, the fears, the angst, the anxiety, depression that you're going through, nature will heal you. Like we are nature beings. Your body is a temple of the earth. And if you go and connect it with the earth, you're at it sounds woo-woo, but it's just science. Like you're at a frequency that the earth can actually take away your worry, your inflammation. Like it's been scientifically proven. If you go and put your bare feet on the earth, if you have not enough energy, the earth will give you more energy. If you've got too much energy and you're anxious, the earth can take that anxiety away because one is positively and negatively charged. So it literally draws that out of you. So it's essential, I believe.
I love it. I love it. Awesome, awesome recommendations to top off the show today. Blythe, from the bottom of my heart, I cannot thank you enough. We say here on Behind the Smile that when we recover loudly, no one need suffer in silence. So I'm so grateful for you being here today, for sharing your incredible story. I feel like someone needs to make a movie about your life. Well, at the first, I was going to say quarter of your life. You're not even a quarter of the way there, but either way, thank you for your time. Thank you for being you, the energy, the soul, the person you are. I love you dearly. Thank you, my friend.
And likewise, thank you for everything that you do. This is like helping so many people. And I just think that is so profound and beautiful. What a great offering that you shared, my love. Thank you.